Hi, everyone. Welcome to Lucky Dog's virtual puppy and kitten shower. We are going to give people a couple of minutes to join, so sit back and relax, and we will get started shortly. For those of you just joining, welcome to Lucky Dog's virtual puppy and kitten shower. And we're just going to give people a couple more minutes, and then we'll go ahead and get started. We have quite the lineup for today. We're really excited. We're going to be seeing lots of cute puppies and kittens and hearing from some of our really dedicated staff and foster parents and other volunteers. So stay tuned. We'll be ready to start shortly. And we see some more people joining. Welcome, welcome. You'll notice there's a chat that you can say hello to everyone for, and hello, Gabrielle. Thanks for joining. So we'd love to hear from you throughout the broadcast. Through the chat, you won't be able to talk, but we will be able to see whatever you post and answer your questions as we go. And we'll just give people a little bit more time. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. This is Lucky Dog Animal Rescue's first ever virtual puppy and kitten shower. My name is Mira Horowitz, and I am the founder and executive director of Lucky Dog Animal Rescue. For those of you who don't know us well, we are a volunteer-powered, foster-based dog and cat rescue based in Arlington, Virginia. We have fosters, adopters, supporters, all over the DMV, even up into Pennsylvania, Delaware. We actually have a great puppy foster in Delaware. Puppies and kittens from high kill shelters and bring them to the DC area in order to find them forever homes. And a critical part of that is our foster program. We also take dogs from Puerto Rico. We just had some dogs come in, and cats as well from Puerto Rico, but we just had some dogs come in from South Korea as well. So we are super excited to share all of our work. And today's focus, of course, is on puppies and kittens. For those of you who don't know, that we are starting kitten season and we have tons of puppies in need. So we are really excited to share all of our programming and how you can help. So I'd love my co-hosts to introduce themselves now as well.
Absolutely. My name is Madison. For those of you who don't know me, it's good to see some familiar and some new faces here. I'm the program manager for veterinary care at Lucky Dog Animal Rescue. So all of your questions about the health and well-being of our animals in care, and even adopted animals sometimes, all go directed through me.
And I'm Ashley Roberts. I'm the program manager for adoptions, fosters, and transports. So the short spiel of that is just I help them get up here, oversee them when they're in foster, and then help them get adopted and succeed in their forever homes.
Wonderful. So we're so excited to have you all with us and to have our wonderful staff with us here. We have a great lineup of presenters. We even have a musical surprise for you from one of our foster families with children. We have a kids club presentation. And we're really focused here today on how to care for pregnant moms, nursing moms, orphan kittens, orphan puppies, and puppies that are getting ready and kittens that are getting ready for their forever homes. And I can tell you that having a supportive team like the team at Lucky Dog is really important. I will never forget my first experience with a nursing mom. It was before Lucky Dog ever started, and I was given a mom with five 5-week-old puppies and just handed over. She ended up having 3 types of worms, the mom and coccidia. I tried to baby gate her in the bathroom with her puppies, and the first night she broke out and had explosive diarrhea all over my guest bedroom. And within a week, she was refusing to nurse the puppies. And she actually was able to get adopted really quickly, this kind of pathetic looking hound dog. Someone fell in love with her. And so then when I took the puppies outside for the first time, when they finally had some vaccines in them, they saw my dog, my male dog. It was the first time they'd seen another dog since their mom, and they rushed him to try to nurse. And so it was a great learning experience for me and for Sparky. But it really did show me how being prepared and having a supportive network behind you can make that fostering experience a lot easier, more enjoyable, and more successful. So Madison, let's turning over to you.
Yeah, so we're really excited that we can all kind of gather here at a virtual event. Unfortunately, we can't be gathered in person quite yet. Hopefully very soon we'll be back together. But in the meantime, like Mira mentioned earlier, we want you guys to interact in the chat. We want to feel like we're all still together. So we'd love to hear where you're from, if you've ever fostered before, what you fostered, what you look forward to fostering, and anything else that you want us to know. Interact in the chat, and we look forward to hearing what you guys have to say throughout the presentation.
Yeah, and if you haven't fostered before with us, if you haven't fostered puppies or kittens with us before, but you are an active foster, just let me know. My email will be pinned to the chat for you in just a few minutes. Or you can also let Allie Porter know. You will get introduced to her a little later. She helps me oversee our puppy team. And if you haven't fostered with us ever, you can sign up on our website. It is at luckydoganimalrescue.org/volunteer/foster. It'll go through all of the various options we have for fostering, kind of give you, some quick FAQs, but you also have my email. You can reach out there and I can walk you through the process to get you started. And there should also be a link for that in the chat for you as well. And Mira, I think I'll turn it back over to you.
Great, thank you. And even if you can't foster at this time or volunteer in other ways, you absolutely can help us by making a life-saving donation. You can do so by texting LUCKY to 26989, or you can make a donation online, luckydoganimalrescue.org/donate. Or if you prefer to provide things, we have 2 wish lists that will be popping up in your chat. One is for puppies and one is for kittens, and all of these supplies are just absolutely critical to making sure our puppies and kittens are set up for success in their foster homes. So however you can help foster, volunteer, donate, send things, we are more than grateful for your support.
Yeah, I'm really excited for all of the things that we have going on tonight. We'll talk a little bit more about what you guys give goes to, how we take care of our animals, where the donations goes to, what's on our wish list. But we also are going to have some fun tonight. I'm really excited about it. We'll have a little buzzword bingo. So those cards will be in the chat for you. So just keep an eye out for some of those buzzwords that we're going to talk about throughout our presentation, some of the videos that we have going on, and let us know in the chat whenever you get bingo. And we're going to get started with one of our first little presentations first, or first videos, excuse me.
Yeah, actually the buzzword bingo cards, I think, were in your registration email. So if you got your registration email at the top, your buzzword bingo card link. So click on that, and then you will hear certain words throughout the day or the presentation. And when you find the word, mark it, and then let us know when you have bingo by yelling bingo in the chat. So there's no prizes for this. It's just really fun. But we would love to see how many people can get bingo during our presentation. So right now, first up, we're going to be hearing from one of our fabulous puppy and kitten fosters, Katie Vita. And then we're going to turn it over to Ashley, who's going to talk about transport and why fostering is so critical. So sit back, relax, and let's go for this ride.
Can't wait. Let's do it.
I'm Katie. Last fall, we had an amazing experience bringing some kittens in from Puerto Rico. A rescuer down there reached out to me, and she said, do you know anybody that can save these kittens for us? And immediately, of course, I thought of Lucky Dog. A Lucky Dog volunteer picked them up at night in Philly at the airport and brought them to me. And they were tiny. It is so much fun fostering kittens because they're like having little comedians in your house. They just bring you so much joy. It's really easy to do kittens. Kittens are just a lot of fun. So I recommend you foster kittens.
Awesome. That was a great little video from Katie Vita, who, like Mira said, is one of our long-term cat and puppy fosters. And as Katie briefly mentions in her video, we transport our Lucky Dog and cats from all over, typically from the rural South, but also from Puerto Rico, which is where those cute little cats in that previous video came from. And, you know, I think what's really interesting and one of the reasons why Lucky Dog is a little different in how we run things is that it's not typically advisable to move a litter that small, that young of neonatals for puppies or kittens, just because, you know, it's a lot of stress on them. But, you know, the shelters that we work with ask us for help because they truly don't have any other options. Lucky Dog is the last chance for these puppies and kittens. You know, they don't have the manpower or the funding and the supplies that our awesome donors are giving to us to be able to support them when they're in foster. And also, most of these shelters are in rural places, so getting them to the vet if anything comes up is really difficult, especially when time is of the essence. And the DMV blesses us with many vettings, many vet offices all over the place. You know, and so, like I said, we are really their last chance at survival, and we try to give these animals a fighting chance by pulling them as soon as we can possibly place them into foster. Not only does this also save their life by placing them in those foster homes, but it also helps free up another space for another either litter of puppies or kittens, an adult dog, an adult cat. So kind of that trickle down effect of saving even more lives by being able to give them a place that they can stay until maybe even we can pull them up and bring them up to save them. And, you know, this is really why we need fosters that are ready and able to foster these neonatal puppies and kittens, or pregnant mama dogs, pregnant cats, or nursing mamas. And, you know, that whole option is really important because we get these requests to take them in with sometimes 1 or 2 days notice. We are going to hear from a foster later on that we got the ask for that mama cat to come up a day before she arrived, and then she had her babies a day and a half later. You know, so without Lucky Dog, she wouldn't have been able to come up for a little bit because we couldn't have transport her. So, you know, we want to make sure that we can answer these needs really quickly. So that's why we have the supplies ready in our office, and we ask for those donations ahead of time. That's why we have our fosters ready to go and teed up to prepare for them when these transports arrive. And that's why we work so hard to make sure that these transports come in consistently every single week to save as many lives as possible for both pregnant and nursing moms, or even orphaned kittens and puppies that maybe were separated from their mothers. So, these fosters, all we really ask of them, if you're open to fostering some of these puppies or kittens, is just to be patient, setting them up for success with some of the things we'll talk about today, and also using all the resources that we have available for you, whether that's supplies or other fosters that can kind of step in to help with the feeding, or staff that can help answer any of your questions. So, up next, we're actually going to show you a short little video of what it's like for some of these puppies and kittens while they are getting ready for transport, during transport, and right when they arrive up into the DMV before we place them into their foster homes.
Where do Lucky Dog's puppies and kittens come from? As close as rural Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina, to as far away as Texas and Puerto Rico. Each and every one travels to DC from a high-kill shelter where our dedicated partners work around the clock to save the most vulnerable of our lucky dogs and cats. They spend countless hours getting our youngest animals vetted and ready for transport. Last year alone, we rescued and placed almost 1,900 puppies and kittens in forever homes. And this year, we've already started working incredibly hard to save even more. Together, we can make this goal and dream a reality for lucky puppies and kittens whose only hope in the world is Lucky Dog and you. Visit luckydoganimalrescue.org to learn how you can make the difference in the life of a lucky puppy or kitten today.
Awesome. That never gets old, watching animals come from transport. When I started at Lucky Dog about 6 months ago now, because of COVID and the social distancing at the space, I wasn't actually at transports. I was kind of behind the scenes doing some foster support and some vet support. But now that I've stepped into this role of helping actually at transports ever since January, I've done about 50 of them. And I still get chills every single time that I see the animals come off the van. I think it's by far the most rewarding.
I just like they recognize you, right? If you're the one who pulls them off the transport van, they recognize you all those years later, and it's a really, really special feeling. And we can't do it without the fosters and the volunteers, and the supporters, and that's why you all are here today.
Yeah. And speaking of volunteers, it's kind of crazy to me because our next speaker, Allie Porter, is a volunteer, but she helps so much. It sometimes feels like she might as well be a part of our staff because without her, I personally could not do the things that we do every day. And so I'm really excited to introduce Allie to the presentation here. She's our puppy team lead. So she helps me run our foster program here at Lucky Dog, and Allie coordinates and supports every single one of the puppy fosters that have our mama dogs that are either pregnant or nursing, and also any puppy litters that come up. And so she's going to talk now to us about what to expect when you're expecting, and kind of go through like caring for a pregnant mama dog, setting her up for success, seeing them through birth, and that whole amazing process.
I'm so excited to see Allie present her presentation. Afterwards, you'll get to hear more about all of our cute puppies and kittens. You'll see some more videos, hear about our kids club, and the perks of fostering when you have kids.
Awesome. Okay, Allie, let's get started.
Thank you for having me today. I've got a great presentation to share with you guys and some fun trivia questions as well. So hopefully you guys will enjoy it.
Fabulous.
I'm going to share my screen here for you guys so you can see.
And everyone, when Allie puts a trivia question on the screen, put your guesses in the chat before we reveal the real answer.
Okay, so today I'm going to be talking to you guys about what to expect when your foster dog is expecting. And really, I want to break it down into 3 different sections. So before birth, pre-labor, labor, and delivery. But first, we got to get ready because here comes your first trivia question. Are you guys ready? All right, here's the first one. How long is a dog's pregnancy? Is it 9 months, 1 year, 9 weeks, or 6 months? Remember your things in the chat.
Yep, guesses in the chat. Any guesses? No one wants to be wrong.
All right,
I know.
I'm seeing some good guesses.
Are you seeing
Mira,
some
you have to
guesses?
do your guess too before we reveal the big answer.
Well, I already know the answer. And I said,
right.
and I'll give everyone a hint. If humans only had to be pregnant this long, we'd probably have a lot more babies in the world.
That's true. It's a good thing that this answer is what it is. So here it is, guys. Here's the correct answer. It is actually 58 to 68 days. Okay, that's about 9 weeks. So really good job to everybody that got that one right. I saw a lot of good guesses in the chat. And let's go ahead and talk about this idea of
Allie, can I make say a quick thing about this?
Sure.
If you think about the need for spay and neuter, within 9 weeks, puppies can come. So when you're talking about, when you ever have questions about why do I have to spay or neuter my pets, think about the fact that we can continuously have puppies almost every 9 weeks. It does not take long for a dog to get pregnant and have puppies. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. And when you're thinking about what can you do to help, prepare your foster mama dog to get ready, really, there's like 3 important steps. And the first step would be to nourish her. Step 2 is to help her nest. And step 3 is, of course, to spoil her. All right, so let's look at each of these maybe a little bit more in depth. And let's start with the first and most important thing that a foster can do to help her pregnant mom is to definitely nourish her. The biggest issue facing our pregnant fosters is malnourishment during pregnancy. And unfortunately, malnourishment can lead to issues during birth and health issues for the puppies. Look, the majority of our pregnant fosters have not been well cared for prior to or during their pregnancy, and malnourishment is a really big hurdle for us to overcome. So the number one thing fosters can do to help their pregnant dog is to immediately begin helping her gain weight in a healthy way. And there's really a few things that you guys can do to help out. One of those is to feed, smaller meals 4 times a day, making sure that you have a mixture of dry and wet puppy food. And that will really help her digestion because everything's, a bit squished in there during pregnancy. Sometimes they can also lack an appetite, so those smaller meals help. You want to make sure you're feeding a really high quality, high protein, high calorie and fat, but a low fiber puppy food. And another really great trick is adding puppy formula to the mom's food. That'll help her with her milk production so that she has a better chance of successfully feeding her puppies after birth. And then, of course, you can always add boiled chicken or ground beef. That makes it extra yummy. And, the moms will love that. And then the second thing that the fosters can do is to really help her nest. So it is LDAR protocol that mom and puppies are confined to a whelping pen setup before labor, all the way until the puppies get their second shot. So they're not allowed to roam around your house free. Since they have to be in this whelping setup, it's a really good idea to set it up ahead of time and let mom start sleeping in there to get used to it, kind of like a crate situation, so that she can kind of make it her own and make her feel safe in there. And the best setup is an X-pen attached to a wire crate with a baby pool inside. And you can even drape sheets or blankets around the outside to make it more cave-like so that mom feels more comfortable. You want to make sure you put it in an area that's, isolated as comfortable as possible for the mom. You want to be able to limit interaction between the mom and puppies and any of your resident pets, definitely for the first several weeks. And then the biggest thing, believe it or not, that people don't know is that the high temperature that has to be in the room. So you can use room heaters or you can use heat lamps attached to your setup. But believe it or not, the temperature needs to be between 85 and 90 degrees for the first 4 days after birth. And then slowly over the next 4 weeks, you can lower it to between 75 and 80. But that's, that's pretty warm. And then the last thing that you guys can do is, of course, spoil her. I actually found a study that said that pregnant dogs who are well-loved and get lots of belly rubs while pregnant give birth to more well-adjusted puppies. We don't know if it's true, of course, but we obviously totally encourage you to go overboard on the love. You want to treat mom like a special foster dog, so do short walks or potty breaks versus heavier exercise. She is totally welcome to interact with your resident dog and play, but just make sure it's never too rough. And just be prepared that, a pregnant dog is going to sleep a lot, even more so than a normal dog. You're going to just expect that slumber. That's natural. Okay, so now we're ready for the second trivia questions. Everybody ready?
Allie, let me say one quick thing before we move on to the trivia question. And I just want to make note that these are everything that Allie just shared with you is all of our best practices with lots of research behind it. However, if you're not able to keep your home at 85 to 90 degrees, if you can only keep it from around 80 degrees or anything like that, don't feel scared about fostering for us. We can help you with heat lamps and other things because the reality is if these animals don't come up to us, they're going to be giving birth in the shelter, and the shelter is nowhere near the right temperature or the right environment. We've had puppies fall down drains. We've had them get stuck between the bars of the cages. So we're sharing with you best practices, ideal situation, but we understand the reality that we can't always provide the best ideal situation. And if we can help you get as close as possible within your comfort zone, we are here to do that. And we can be super creative with how we get you there.
Yeah, we're always here to help and be a resource in any way that we can. So I think we're ready for the second trivia question. Okay, here we go, you guys. What is the normal temp for a pregnant dog? Is it 104 degrees, 98.6 degrees, 90 to 95 degrees, or 100 to 102 degrees? All right, what do you guys think? And remember, you're putting your answers in the chat.
I'm going to guess, I don't actually know the answer to this, but I'm going to guess 90 to 95.
Okay, that's a good guess. I'm seeing lots of people. Oh, wow. I'm actually seeing lots of people getting these answers right in the chat. Okay, let's reveal the big answer. Here we go. Sorry, Mary, you got it wrong, but you were close. The correct answer is 100 to 102 degrees. If actually she falls to 98 degrees, that could be a sign that you're about to have puppies in the next 24 hours.
So isn't that something that our fosters or our pregnant mom fosters like to ask, like, when are the puppies coming, right?
They always want to ask that question. And, really the only way for us to know exactly when puppies are coming is if you know the date of conception or to have an x-ray done. And of course, with shelter dogs, we don't know any of that. But there are some signs that we could go over to help people out to see. So if you want to talk about pre-labor and how do you know if your foster dog's going into labor? So some of those signs are heavy panting, not eating or refusing food. Milk can start leaking from mom. She can have a temp drop to 98 because remember, she's supposed to be 100 to 102. Those are all really great signs that you might be having puppies within 24 to 48 hours. But there's a glitch, and that's that these aren't 100% tells of labor. So some of the dogs will have all of them. Some will have a few, and well, some will have none. And it'll just be a really fun surprise when you have puppies. And that takes us to our third and final trivia question. Are you guys ready? All right. How long can labor last for a pregnant dog? So is it up to 24 hours, up to 12 hours, 72 hours, or as long as it needs to last? What do you guys think?
I know the answer to this one too.
Okay.
I only know the answer because we have fosters who write to us and say, isn't it supposed to be over yet? Should I be concerned? Are there more puppies in there?
Like a really long time. That's true.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we've also, gotten those middle of the night text messages. There's 2 puppies. Now there's 3. Okay, we're up to 6. Oh my God,
and then we
10.
wake up the next day and we're at 12. All right, so I see a lot of really good answers in the chat so far. You guys ready for it?
Yeah.
Reveal. It is up to 24 hours. And believe it or not, there can be anywhere from just a few minutes up to 2 hours between individual puppies being born. But if it's over 24 hours, definitely, then we want to talk about what's going on. And then, one of the things that I always get asked is, should fosters interact with the moms during labor? So, the last section I just want to talk about is birth. What happens during labor? And the reality is that nature is amazing. Your foster dog's going to know what to do during the delivery of her puppies. You might notice contractions. You may not. There's no need to touch her while she's having the contractions. Like I said, puppies can be delivered anywhere between a few minutes apart to up to 2 hours apart. So, never quite sure when it's done. And it is completely normal for mom to be tired, panting, uncomfortable before and after giving birth. But really, the less interference and interaction you can have with them is best. You really want to be a silent observer and just make sure everything's going well and no emergency situation occurs. But otherwise, you kind of just want to let mom do her job. And what she is going to do is she's going to take care of everything necessary. So she's going to tear the sac with her teeth and she's going to chew through the umbilical cord. And sometimes you might feel like, hey, maybe she's being a little too rough with them, but honestly, that's normal. There's no need to interfere unless mom's not doing, what's necessary. She will eat the placenta. She will eat the delivery sac. I know, yummy. And she's going to go ahead and lick the puppies to get them all clean. And that's going to stimulate them to breathe and begin to move around. And the most important thing, to start latching and nursing. So in general, your job during delivery is really minimal. It's just to observe, make sure that everything's going well, and make sure that after they're born, they're just looking like they're wiggly, squirmy little puppies, and that they start nursing right away is the most important thing.
And Allie, they should make sure, and I'm guessing on this because I'm not sure they know the answer, an access to water during birth, right? So that if mom is tired and wants to get up and get some water and come back down, I think that's something that actually foster parents could be quite helpful, is making sure that water supply is there.
Yeah, definitely. Always make sure that she always has access to water. Some fosters, some mamas even like to, eat some of that puppy formula mixture. It kind of gives them a little extra boost during labor. And really, I mean, the only difference between, neonatal puppies and two-shot puppies, which I know a lot of people on here have maybe already fostered two-shot puppies, is just this idea that neonatal puppies are really quiet. They don't bark and cry and whine and, like we're all used to with the older puppies. So actually crying and whining is a sign that there might be something wrong. So in that case, you definitely give us all a call, give the staff a call, give me a call, day or night. Doesn't matter. We want to be here to support you guys and know what's going on. And really just that quick response is the best thing that you can do. So thanks so much for going through the presentation. I hope you guys had fun with the questions. If you want a puppy foster, I would love that. And there's my email address. It's alleyp@luckydoganimalrescue.org.
If anyone out there is already a puppy foster or who has fostered moms and puppies, if you want to share in the chat what your favorite part about fostering is, we would love to see it. And I'm sure the other folks on this chat would love to see it as well. So Allie, one more question is it advisable or safe for a pregnant mom or a puppy litter to be fostered in a home with children?
Absolutely. So we have some really great foster families that have kids, and the kids take such an active role in the fostering process. So I highly recommend that. In fact, kids can even get service hours, because I'm a teacher for school for fostering. And actually, our next segment is all about kids and fostering in general, and of course, moms and puppies.
Cool. That's awesome. So in the meantime, let's just check out a cute video of some foster puppies before we hear from our kids team. Thank you, Allie.
Thanks.
One of the wonderful things about puppies is that they provide a constant and free source of entertainment. Whether they're hanging out in their food bowl, discovering toys for the first time, welcoming you in the morning, or simply entertaining themselves or finding a place to nap, everything our lucky puppies do causes us to fall in love with them all over again, and we're sure it will be the same for you. Please consider fostering with Lucky Dog Animal Rescue. Visit our website or email us at info@luckydoganimalrescue.org to learn more.
That was so cute to see all of those little puppies romping around. Up next, we're actually going to have Chevy Lerner and Lily Odenwalder join us to talk about fostering with children in the home. And then we will actually have that followed up by an amazing little music video made by a very musical foster family that also have kiddos in the home that are featured in that for one of our Lucky Dogs former litterers. Hey, Lily. Hey, Chevy.
Hello.
Let you guys' videos load. We're really excited to have you guys here.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. So for everybody that's watching, Chevy and Lily are Lucky Dogs youth programs co-leads. So they organize the program's monthly newsletter. You guys also host really fun activities for the youth members like Lucky Dog Story Time. But you guys also have started did a really fun project at the beginning of your time as youth co-leads. Why don't you guys tell us a little bit about that first project and kind of why you guys are here to chat with us today?
Yeah, so our first project we did as the leaders of the youth program was we made a video with advice about fostering with kids.
So for the video, we interviewed and collected advice from multiple amazing Lucky Dog foster families who have fostered a range of dogs from litters of puppies all the way to senior dogs.
One of the main things we learned was that you can foster puppies successfully while also having kids in the home. And it's actually great because you have extra hands to help around and it's a great experience for the kids.
Yeah, so fostering is a great opportunity for parents to teach kids responsibilities such as cleaning up after dogs, and also for kids to learn that it takes time to develop relationships with dogs.
Some of the kids' favorite activities with their foster dogs included playing fetch with the dogs, watching TV with the dogs, going on family walks, and watching them grow.
What advice did you have for families, for kids, either that these families shared with you all in the video or that you guys have kind of gleaned from yourselves when you guys were fostering as well?
Yeah, so our main piece of advice is that as long as you introduce the kids and fosters safely and set guidelines for them to interact, fostering puppies and kittens will be fun for the whole family and also an easier experience that you will have extra helpers.
Yeah, so some of the main guidelines that parents put in place and told to us that they tell their kids is that the kids can't hold the leash when they walk their dog. The parents are in charge of bathing the dog. The kids should not run up to the dog or cats for that matter. And there should always be an adult in the room with the fosters to keep everybody safe. And sometimes everyone needs a little space.
Awesome. I love what you guys say about the extra hands, because every time I talk to a puppy or a kitten foster, they always tell me that that their kiddos are doing it for hours, but I really think it's because the parents want a little help with with everything they're doing.
Definitely.
Awesome. What before we move on to our next segment, what kind of final words do you guys have for any of our puppy and kitten shower viewers that are out there watching right now?
Yeah, so basically we've heard from all kinds of foster families that it feels very rewarding to have kids in the home and to also help puppies and kittens get ready for their forever homes.
Yeah, so please consider fostering puppies or kittens with Lucky Dog, especially if you have kids. And thank you so much for having us on.
Thanks, guys, for joining us and telling us all about this. It was really good to have you guys. And next up, we're going to show everyone a little video from one of our previous foster families.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Christy Helfrich, a very proud Lucky Dog foster. One of the things we do to get ready is we have a puppy cart that we keep all of our supplies, all of the food, treats, pee pads, bowls, toys, and we can roll it in and out every time we get a foster pup, or if we get one adopted, we can put it away. Also, we get our downstairs basement area ready. That's where we keep the dogs at night. It's a tiled area, and we use the X pen that Lucky Dogs has given us to section that area off, and we put a crate in there with the door open and a dog bed and some pee pads so the dogs can have their own little area down there. One of our new favorite traditions as part of our fostering for Lucky Dogs is that we order mixed tiles for each one of our foster dogs so we can remember them.
Hey Sadie, you're quite the lady. You got so much love in your heart.
Hey Scout,
There can be no doubt about it. You got so much love in your heart. Hey Sherman, be determined. You got so much love in your heart. Hey Sarge, you're in charge of this. You got so much love in your heart. We are quite the team, living Lexi's dream. It's a sweet sort of love, you know. Love's hard and let's go. Hey Stanley, you're so manly. You got so much love in your heart. Hey Scarlett, you're our starlet. You got so much love in your heart. Hey Shadow, saw your first rainbow. You got so much love in your heart. Hey Sailor, this world is tailored for you. You got so much love in your heart.
Hi, everyone. I think we're having a little bit of technical difficulty with our Lexi's Dream video, and we're so sorry. But what we're going to do is load it up and put it on our Facebook page so that everyone can see it, because it really is such a great video. And we don't want people to miss out having a chance to see it.
Yeah, it's so sweet. These fosters in particular are so talented, and I wish I could send them my fosters for a day to do a little music video shoot with them, so I had something like this to remember. It's a rewarding experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we are going to be moving on soon to kittens. But I wanted to just go ahead and share that we have this game, and it's called What is Your Lucky Name? And let's see what everyone's lucky name is. So we're going to put a quick slide up any minute now. There we go. It's loading. All right. So the way that you play this is you use the first letter of your last name and then the month that you're born, and you put them together, and that is your lucky name. So everyone take a quick minute to go ahead and put your special lucky name into the chat. Okay, we've got Single Buddy Littermate, Licks-a-Lot Nappington, Katie Purry Snuggleton, Snuggled, God, all these things. All right, so mine is Meows-a-Lot Shoe Bandit.
That's original. Mine is Snuggle Buddy Kibble. Okay, that's nice.
Okay, cool. Oh my God, these are so funny. Drew Berry Paw Zoomies and Flopping Ears Licks-a-Lot. Oh my goodness. So keep putting those names in the chat. This is hysterical. I can't even begin to stop laughing. So, moving on, we now have a really great a presentation that was put together by our great partner, Dr. Kitten at Friendship Hospital for Animals. She was originally going to be live during the shower and then got called into the ER at the last minute. So she did put together this presentation for us. So please bear with us that she's not live, but we're super excited to have her experience sharing with us the best practices for care around neonates. So we are going to start that right now.
Everyone will be just one moment as we're loading it. It's a couple different steps to bring in the audio and the visual with Dr. Klippen's presentation.
All right. So while we're trying to load up the audio for this, we're sorry for the difficulty here. We are we've been partnering with Friendship Hospital for Animals for many years, since we started, 11 years. And we use them for two primary reasons. One is for those extraordinary surgeries, particularly orthopedic surgeries. But more importantly, for our puppies and kittens, we use them for emergency care. So for example, when we have puppies that we suspect might be coming down with the deadly parvovirus or have extreme worm infestations and need fluids, or kittens, young kittens that are not responding, we send them to Friendship. And we have developed this great relationship with Dr. Kitten and the rest of the team there. Obviously, sending animals to Friendship is our last resort, but when we do have to do it, we couldn't think of a better organization or a better hospital to partner with them. And that's because they understand that we want to be able to provide the very best level of care possible, but that we need to at the same time conserve our resources. So we are going to try to load up this this PowerPoint really quickly. Give us one moment.
We're having sound trouble with the video. It's not relaying to everyone in the audience. So we're going to have to skip this and move on to Emily.
We want to.
Okay, why don't we go ahead and go through the slides? I'm happy to share the slides.
Excellent.
So first of all, neonate mortality. So neonates, this is an area of growth for the veterinary community. There is a very high level of mortality, though, 12 to 36%. And I know for our kitten and puppy fosters, one of the very hardest things is when those kittens and puppies don't make it in the first couple of weeks. And there are a number of reasons, even though most puppies and kittens, if they do pass, you don't do a necropsy or spend a lot of money trying to find out why they passed. But many reasons are that for those that are determined are trauma or prematurity. One of the things I always tell our puppy and kitten fosters is one of the reasons that puppies and kittens come in large litters is because there is such a high neonatal mortality rate. Next slide, please. Normal responses of what you should be looking for: a strong sucking reflex with adequate rooting behavior. So when Allie was talking earlier, one of the things you want to make sure your puppies and kittens can do right away is latch on and nurse. There are ways that you can test. As you can see here, what the vet is doing in these pictures is letting the puppy suck on a finger. And you want to make sure also that the puppy can right itself, or kitten can right itself. So if it's on its side, it needs to be able to roll onto its front and kind of wiggle its way to the mom to be able to nurse. So if after birth you realize that the puppy or kitten is unable to either turn over or is unable to latch on and start to suck, you should be definitely in contact with us. We can supplement some with syringe and bottle feeding. Syringe feeding often can be quite helpful if the animal is unable to latch on itself. But you do need to be careful with syringe feeding that you don't choke them by stuffing the food down their throat. Next slide, please.
And Mira, their food is similar to like baby food, right? I mean, it's like infant formula that they utilize in those?
It is. It's a goat's milk. So one of the big fallacies that many people think is that kittens should be given cow milk. And it's actually, kittens are often lactose intolerant. Cats in general are lactose intolerant. So you'll see that the kitten and puppy, both milk replacements, are a goat's milk powder. And you stir it up. Oftentimes you get it a little warm. It makes it better for the kitten or the puppy. And then you can use this. I like personally using the syringe because you can monitor how much of the milk you are actually getting into the puppy or kitten. It also helps teach them how to swallow, and then they start to suck on the nipple that's at the end of the syringe. And that teaches them rather how to go ahead and eat. The other thing that you really want to be careful about is keeping them warm. So one thing is you want to make sure that you're keeping them drinking and hydrated and getting their nutrients. And here you can see the different kinds of, in the last slide, you could see the different kinds of nipples in puppies. But you want to make sure that the puppies and kittens are not getting dehydrated, that they're not getting hypoglycemic, and that they're not getting hypothermia and hypoxemia. So you want to keep them warm. You want to keep them drinking. And if for some reason those two things aren't, we do have something called fading puppy and fading kitten syndrome. And we have a whole protocol for you to follow if you notice this. One of the things that you can do when you are dealing with a kitten or a puppy that seems to be fading is use Caro syrup, which is pictured here. And you don't actually syringe feed them the syrup, but you do put it on their gums. And so they can absorb that through their gums. They also can lick that off. And that can help increase the sugar in their systems. And also sometimes it can stimulate the appetite as well. So having Caro syrup around if you're doing neonatal fostering is something that's really important. Next slide. And then, of course, dehydration is a huge concern. And so if you notice your puppies, especially your neonates, are vomiting a lot or having diarrhea, that is something that will often lead to dehydration. We at Lucky Dog have sub-Q fluids in the office, and actually Madison is able to administer those. If it gets even more significant, we end up sending them to our friends at Friendship, who will monitor them and do some more fluids to try to keep them from becoming too dehydrated. But unfortunately, when you're dealing with neonates and you're dealing with faded puppies and kittens, there is a very limited amount of medical intervention that we can provide in those first 2 to 3 weeks, because many of the of the antibiotics are not safe to use. So sometimes as you're seeing these fading puppies and kittens, what we'll say is make sure to keep them warm, make sure to keep the Caro syrup on them, make sure to try to keep them hydrated. Let us give them fluids if we can. We also have been learning more about Pen-G, which is an antibiotic that's safe, particularly in kittens, and that we're going to be using more to try to stabilize them in those early weeks. Here is a slide that discusses a little bit more about the hypothermia. Remember that, they are puppies and kittens when they're born. They're basically little, blobs, amoebas. I'd like to think of. Their eyes aren't open. And they're not actually able to regulate their own temperature. So it's important that you keep the area around them warm. When I was feeding, or when I had my kitten at 3 weeks, that I was my neonate, he actually would seek out the heating pad all the time. So next slide. Hypoxema, this is a respiratory distress. And this is something that is actually really hard for us to treat. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. Hospitalizing 2 to 3 week olds, kittens and puppies for this is extremely expensive and has a very low rate of success. It also puts them through quite a lot of suffering. So that can be problematic as well. Next slide. We did talk about feeding, one thing that I didn't mention before is that milk replacement, once you constitute and knead it and mix it, you need to make sure that is refrigerated and that you don't keep it any more than 48 hours. Generally, we use small amounts where we make small amounts so that you can keep the powder as long as possible, and that stretches our resources as far as possible. Next slide. Neonates, this is also something that is really important. You want to be weighing your kittens and puppies, and Lucky Dog actually has a puppy and kitten tracking sheet. So we want to make sure that the kittens and puppies are gaining weight over time. They can, if you look in this slide, their body weight can fluctuate significantly just because of the amount of milk that's in their body. So we try to look for averages. You also want to watch about diarrhea and vomiting, which not only can be signs of illness, but can also be signs of overfeeding. So more time, small meals spread out over the course of the day. Our general rule is every couple of hours, we have charts and all sorts of additional information for you to follow so that you can make sure that your puppies and kittens are gaining enough weight and are on track. There are many different ways. The milk should never be microwaved. I should have flagged that when I was saying you can heat it up. Heating it up usually is done by putting warm water in the mix with the powder. So you don't want to microwave it, and you don't want to have it be cold. So making sure that it's nice and warm when you constitute it. It's made with warm water. If it's been in the refrigerator, you can actually boil a pot of water and drop the bottle in and let it heat up. So all of those are ways to keep the food nice and warm for the puppies and kittens to drink. Next slide, please. Bottle feeding. So bottle feeding actually can be quite difficult. As I mentioned earlier, I prefer syringe feeding myself, but you do have to be careful that with the syringe that you don't jam the food down their throat and make them swallow too much, or you could actually drown them. So you want to make sure that you're giving them a steady flow. And the other thing that is flagged in this slide, which is very true and something that I didn't realize right at first, is the miracle of the nipples that you get, particularly with the bottles, don't have a hole. You have to make your own. I do not recommend cutting the top off with a scissor. That mistake has been made many times, and then you just get a gush of of milk going down into the puppy or kitten. It is very easy if you use a hot needle that helps melt the rubber and make a big enough hole. And then the best ways you want to, if you imagine the way that a puppy or kitten is eats when they're against their mother, they're kind of on their belly and they're able to push their paws against the mom, making kind of biscuits on the mom is what it's called. So if you can try to put the puppy or kitten into that same position, mimicking the way that they would eat on their mom, that is the best way to do it. But honestly, any way that you can get them to feed or eat or drink will work. And the most important thing is to get the food into them. Next slide. Tube feeding. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on tube feeding. This is something that will be done when we are at our wit's end and we think we're going to lose the puppy or the kitten. It is something that our staff is currently getting trained on. And so this is not something that fosters will be doing in their home, but it is an option if we really get desperate. Next slide. Oh, yes, elimination. So something that also may be very interesting for people, neonates, puppies and kittens under 3 weeks of age do not pee or poop on their own. They actually need to be stimulated. And normally a mom would be licking, and that is what causes it. So the best way to do that, it's just shown here with a little cotton ball. You can also use tissues, or in a pinch, if you have paper towels, you use slightly warmed water just to make it a little bit damp. And then you rub in circles on their behind. And normally they go to the bathroom pretty shortly after they have eaten, and they usually go a couple times a day. So this is something that's also quite important, is teaching them the rhythms of going to the bathroom and making sure that you stimulate them so things don't get backed up in a bad way. Diarrhea and constipation are both problems that can arise with neonates. These are both issues that we may have to send the animals to the vet for if it gets pretty bad. Sometimes we use antibiotics for them. Sometimes what we'll do is we'll add Fortiflora, which is a probiotic, which helps the digestive system work. Similarly, the probiotics can help with constipation. At some point, as the puppies and kittens get older, we can add pumpkin into their diet, but not right away as they're neonates. So if we think that the kitten or puppy is having trouble with constipation, we might be calling in the vet to have some extra help there as well. How to tell when problems are developing. So this is something that is a challenge for us, and particularly for fosters, because of course, if you see any signs of distress, you want the animal to go to the vet. But as a rescue that doesn't have unlimited resources, we can't put them through all of the things that maybe a private person would do for their animal. So we ask that you keep in close touch with the Lucky Dog staff. If your puppy or kitten does not seem to be gaining weight, showing more interest in gaining muscle strength, being able to move around on their own, those are the things that we are looking for that might flag that a vet visit is necessary. Also, as Allie mentioned in her presentation, neonates should not be crying a lot. So if they are crying a lot, if they seem painful, that is a sign that we need to take them to the vet. In fact, just recently, we had a 2-week-old puppy who was crying a lot and has we think it's an abscess on his face. Now, I will say, even though we did take them to the vet, all the vet could do is start them on some antibiotics. There isn't a lot you can do for a 2.5-week-old puppy. But the good news is this puppy is improving right now. I'm actually going to skip this one because I think that it's better presented by a vet, which of course I'm not. So we can but I will share these online resources. There's a lot of great resources. And of course, all of the staff is ready to help as much as possible. We're very excited. This year, Lucky Dog received a fabulous grant from Best Friends and the Rachel Ray Foundation. And through that, we have developed a partnership with a rescue in North Carolina who's actually going to be coming in and sharing with you shortly about kittens. And they have a ton of resources as well. So we're really excited about what's to come and the great resources that we're going to be able to share with everyone. But we're in this together. We're learning together, and don't let fear of the unknown or fear of what you're worried about stop you from helping us save these amazing puppies and kittens, because the reality is they're going to die without us. And so we give them their best shot. And even if we can't save them all, giving them their best shot is really so important. So thank you all. And I apologize that we were not able to have the wonderful Dr. Clippen's audio work for you. I am a poor stand-in, but hopefully some of that information was good and helpful for all of you.
That was some awesome ad-libbing. That's definitely not the easiest information to present. There was a lot of medical jargon and things there. And so hopefully we can get the video with the original audio from Dr. Clippen uploaded for you guys, because I think there is a lot of really good information embedded within that presentation that'll be helpful for anybody who wants to foster or is currently fostering. Like Mira said, we have a mirage of puppies in care right now that need all sorts of things. So next up, we are going to, I think we're going to intro Emily next. And she's going to talk about the M puppies, who she just brought up from Florence, South Carolina this Wednesday, and she's going to show us some cute video.
Hi, guys. So I am here with the M puppies. These are 5, 8 to 9 week old lab healer mixes. You can see the healer and the brother right here. These guys came up from South Carolina with me this Thursday. Our incredible team lead there asked me if I could bring them back as well as another litter. And I said, absolutely happy to. And it's really amazing because every single puppy or kitten that comes up, every litter that we can save is another animal that we can save from the shelter. Shelters are really dirty. You don't always know, what vaccines dogs coming in can have. And we just want to get these guys out as quickly as possible just to give them their best chance. And as you can see, these guys are tons of fun. They're all boys. There are 5 of them. There's 4 here, and the 5th is off trying to find a way to get out. It's just a fun time over here.
Look at the beautiful whelping pen, Em.
Thank you. It was my Valentine's Day present for my significant other. He built me a whelping pen. You can do a lot with X pens and crates, and we're absolutely happy to provide those for our fosters. But if you get hooked like I did and you tend to love it, you can always build a pen. And what's nice about this is it's a little bit heavier, so it's a little harder for the puppies to move. And then we just have a fun time playing with these guys.
That's awesome. And Emily, thank you so much for taking on these puppies last minute to make room for more down in South Carolina. We're starting to get inundated with, chewing puppies.
Yes, they got rowdy just for the camera. They were wrestling, learning how to play with each other, all the good stuff, and happy to help. They're absolutely fabulous. I'm sure that some lucky family will snag them in no time.
Excellent. So we're going to start transitioning from puppies over to kittens. And I'm going to welcome back Ashley and Madison to take it away for the kittens.
Awesome. Yeah, so just like Allie did with puppies, we definitely want to make sure that our mama cats are taken care of and that you guys have some information to prepare yourselves for kitten season, because we're right in the middle of it.
It's happening right now as we speak.
Live, it is active. We have lots of them coming up from the shelter. And we have orphans, we have a few day olds, we have pregnant mamas.
Pregnant too.
Definitely no shortage, especially at our partner in Florence. They're, like we said, being kind of inundated right now. So we want to make sure we can offer them a lot of support.
Yeah, our partner in Southern Virginia also gets a lot of pregnant and nursing mamas. So we get a lot from them and from South Carolina. But I'm excited for your presentation, Madison, which I think will be popped up on the screen in just a second. But I also know that you have some trivia in there, which everybody needs to get ready to put your answers in the chat when Madison brings it up.
Open. Oh, back to puppies. Come on now.
We love the puppies. It's time for some kittens.
Everybody wants to hear about kittens now.
You're balanced.
I'm really excited for kitten season. This is my first kitten season ever.
That's a fun time. All
Well,
of a
I've
sudden,
never-
you're like, where are dogs?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's still plenty of those too. There's no shortage anywhere of anything, but it's been interesting working with neonates, and the team's been really great in supporting me in all of my crazy ventures for what I want to do with the medical science. Okay, let's get started. So like Allie, so you're expecting kittens. What to do now? I just want to kind of talk about what our goals are this year and how we want to make sure that we're supporting all of our underserved communities. We have a really ambitious goal this year of saving 1,200 kittens. That's not including our adult cats. That is just kittens. And it won't be possible without the help of, foster care up here, fosters who are willing to put in a lot of time, energy. There's highs and lows, things like that. And, we wouldn't be able to do it without you guys. Dozens, if not more, are admitted every day to at-capacity shelters. And we are working on a mission of, offering spay-neuter services and clinics and things like that. But while we're getting that under control, we need to prepare for our neonates in care. Okay, so like Ashley said, we're going to start with some trivia. Get everybody excited. So the first trivia question is, what do you guys think a pregnant cat is called? Let us know in the comments.
And just like Mira did with Allie, I will guess on some of these because there's a couple of them that I'm sure I won't know, but I know the answer to this one. It's one of my favorite trivia questions about cats and kittens. So everybody put your guesses in the chat on what you think a pregnant cat is called.
Very good guesses so far.
Allie, I saw you put a response in there. I know you know the answer before this, so that was not fair.
Okay, let's go. The correct answer is a queen.
The best thing to call a pregnant or nursing or any,
Yeah, and rightfully so. Yeah. Rightfully so. All right, so how to prepare for your queen. There are 4 main topics, kind of like puppies, that we want to touch on and make sure that we're doing in preparation. The first is diet. We want a really high quality diet. We want to make sure that she's getting all of her nutrients, that it's nutritionally balanced. And so we have some great suggestions on the wish list that we would love to be able to offer to our fosters so that they can prepare for their kittens coming into care. The next is the environment. Similar to puppies, we want to kind of provide a whelping pen for mom. Ideally, the setup would be in a quiet location in your home, somewhere a little secluded so that they can have privacy and not feel so stressed when they're in the process of nursing and whelping. And there's some awesome ways, I'll touch on it a little bit today, to create a whelping pen. A great base is like a large plastic box. Anything that you can sanitize, you want everything to be as clean as possible. So a large plastic box that you can sanitize, wipe down. Rescue is an amazing sanitizer if you guys have access to it. And then you can layer it so that it's really comfy and cozy. You can put down puppy pads, you can put down blankets. Again, ideally things that can be sterilized or disposed of. But like Mira said earlier, everything within our limits, and we want to be there to support you guys. So let us know if you ever need resources like that. The next is enrichment. I think sometimes we forget with our pregnant mamas specifically that they themselves may just be babies. We want to make sure that in the time leading up to kittens coming into the world, that she's still entertained and is able to feel herself for as long as she can, because there's going to be a period of 6 to 7 weeks where her only job is going to be, to be a mama and take care of her kittens. So there's some awesome DIY toys that you can make with paper towel rolls. You can cut little holes in them and it becomes, something they can bat around and treats can be dispensed out of. Scratching post. There's puzzle toys for cats, if you can believe it. There's lots of different things out there. So definitely encourage you guys to keep your mama cats entertained. And the last is reassurance. This is really scary for them. Some of them may be first-time moms. Some of them, you may be veterans and know what they're doing. But either way, we want to make sure that they feel supported and that they're ready to bring kittens into the world, because it's no easy task. And like I said, it can take about 6 to 7 weeks for them to be on their own.
I think it's so interesting that you and Allie have so many of the similarities in what the mamas need. And it's just, you know, we've had a few people recently take on pregnant mama cats or pregnant mama dogs that were on the opposite side before they took, and kind of switched lanes. So I think it just speaks to the testament that you can foster one or both if you are open to either cats or dogs in your home, because it's very similar, just slightly different option when it comes out.
Absolutely. Yes, it is a little bit different. But the overarching themes here are the same. So definitely, if you are into fostering puppies and to want to try out another one, if we have a need for it, I would highly encourage that. So I think next we're going to do another trivia question. So I want to know what you guys think is the proper term for a group of kittens. And your options are listed there.
I don't actually know the answer to this one, but I really want it to be a bundle. I just think a bundle of kittens makes the most sense.
Cloud. I think a cloud of kittens is like a dreamy,
a dreamy situation.
Yeah. Okay, we can go to the answer.
Is it? Oh, a kitten caboodle would also be cute too, but I don't think that's what it is.
A kitten caboodle.
A Kindle.
Kindle, which when I think of Kindle, I think of like the e-reader now.
Yeah.
But that's what you call a group of kittens.
I guarantee you that the person that made the Kindle must be a cat lover, because they probably knew that.
That's a good point. I never thought about it like that. So similar to puppies, we're going to talk about kind of the signs of pre-labor and what we should look for in our mama cats. Like Allie said, there's no way for us to know for sure when these babies are coming, but here are some things that we can kind of look for as an indication. For cats, it's a rectal temperature dropping less than 100 degrees Fahrenheit. That's a little bit warmer than our puppies, but still drop nonetheless. Nervousness, pacing, and panting. So they may want to get like in and out of a whelping box. They may not want a whelping box at all, which don't take it personally. You know, I think one of our fosters, Lynn, if you're on here, she gave birth in a sock drawer. It's just where she wanted to be. Not ideal, but like, you know, they're in and out doing their thing. Nesting. So if they're putting things together, you know, if they're assembling blankets, getting it in a very specific arrangement, that could be a sign that they're getting ready for their babies. If they're over grooming in general is a sign as a stress response. So that could be, you know, a sign of a stressful event like pregnancy triggering something. And then the last is not eating. It's not uncommon for like up to 24 hours before active labor to see your kitten kind of refusing, or your cat refusing to eat as they are preparing for kittens. Okay, during active labor, again, just like puppies, cats are amazing. They are very independent in general, and even more so when it comes to taking care of their kittens. So being silent observers is key. We want to only intervene if it looks like a kitten or mom is in distress. And there's signs and ways to look for that. So I would definitely encourage you guys to do a little bit of research before your kittens come if you have the opportunity. Sometimes you don't. And look and familiarize yourself with what those things look like. And let us know if we want to support you. Like I said, in situations where it's necessary, we can definitely make arrangements for extra help. We want to make sure that for every kitten pass, there's a placenta passed. That's really important. Otherwise, that can be a sign of trouble, and mom may need more intervention. We want to make sure that mom is stimulating and nursing the kittens when they're born. Is stimulating them for elimination, stimulating them to breathe, stimulating them to nurse. All of those things, make sure that, you know, as an observer, that she's doing those things for her kittens. It should be innate. But sometimes, especially for our first-time mamas, they need a little bit more encouragement. And once they're squirming, they should be squirming around trying to find the nipple. Crying means that they could be hungry. Sometimes it's a sign of distress. So just make sure that if they're nursing and everything looks good, that maybe that's a sign of something else going on. If they're not, maybe it's because they're hungry. And then once all the kittens are delivered and no more are coming, we want to wait at least 2 hours before kind of disrupting the system that mom has created. So wait, you know, at least that amount of time before throwing away any papers or anything that may be soiled before weighing the kittens, and then make sure that you put them back immediately, because we don't want to really disrupt this period in which they're doing their critical bonding and learning how to nurse and all of those skills.
Do you think that there's a difference there in preparing for a litter of orphan kittens as opposed to how you're kind of preparing for this active labor situation that you're talking about?
Definitely. With orphan kittens, it's a little bit more hands-on. Sometimes we can try and integrate them with a mom who's already nursing, but there's always a chance that the nursing mom will reject the kittens because they're not hers and they don't have her scent, things like that. So you got to be prepared to do the bottle feeds, the long nights, things like that. And like I said, always reach out for support. We're here to help. We have amazing volunteers who are willing to step in and kind of take on active
meetings.
Yeah,
always. Absolutely.
Always. So that leads us into our third trivia question. When do kittens open their eyes? What do you guys think?
Actually, I have a guess. I think it's 1 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
I don't know.
Like a good guess.
I know it's not before birth. That one I can ixnay. And I know it's not 4 to 6 weeks. So
I would never trick you.
Oh, okay. Wow. All right.
All right.
This still seems early. They still seem like babies. Like they still seem so young to be doing it that early.
It's a range, definitely. More towards the 2 to 3 weeks. So some of the other things that can happen during this period are their eardrums can open up, their ears become more upright, they perk up a little bit more. Sometimes they can become more vocal to let their mom know as they're exploring their new territory, their new whelping pen, that they're hungry and to come closer. Yeah.
Awesome.
And then so just some frequently asked, kind of like rapid fire, frequently asked questions from Mama. The first one is, how long is the average gestation period for a queen? Go ahead. It's 63 days. So of course, that's an average. The range being between 58 to 70 days. So again, if you knew the time of insemination, then that would be a good indication, but most of the time we don't. Oftentimes we don't with shelter animals. So just a fun fact. The second is, what is the average litter size? I think a lot of people have this question. And it's 4 kittens. This is definitely a range. Recently, we've had a few small litters, like 2 to 3, and you can get as big as 12 in the teens.
We've had a dual litter of 16 before, with one of them having 4 and the other litter having 12, and the moms shared the babies together. So you can have up to you can have all of the babies.
Possibilities are endless. It depends on how many mamas want to nurse together.
Correct.
The third is, how long can labor last? Go ahead. So it's an average of 16 hours, but the range is 4 to 42 hours. So during that period, like I said, we want to really be observing them and making sure there's no signs of distress, but not to worry if a few hours go by and you aren't seeing a kitten. Definitely, reach out to us, let us know exactly when the kittens came, things like that, stay in communication, and we can kind of advise you on what to do. The fourth question is, what is the average weight of a newborn kitten? And it's 3.5 ounces, which is very small, very tiny.
All of your hand.
Yes. So they're really fragile, and we want to make sure that, like I said, we're not disrupting the system. Mom's created the perfect environment for them as best as she can. So we just gotta let them do their thing. And the next question, which is kind of a fun one, is why your kittens may all look a little bit different. And there's a few answers to this one, but the one I found was, go ahead, that they actually may have different sires. Yeah, so you can have a litter that has 2 different dads, and they can all be birthed at the same time, depending on when the insemination happened. So it may be a genetic component that your cats are just very genetically diverse, but a fun fact is that it may also be that they had 2 dads.
That's awesome.
And the last question is, what should I do when the kittens are born? Go ahead. Yeah, and I kind of already alluded to this, but the best thing to do is be a silent observer, kind of let them be and let them do their thing. Mom will take care of everything, just like with dogs, in terms of the placenta, in terms of the umbilical cord, cleaning the mess in nature. They got to make sure that they get everything clean so that there's no predators come by. So they should instinctually know what to do. And yeah, so if you guys want to be a kitten foster or help with our neonates, we would love that. You can reach out to Ashley at the email listed below and let us know.
Absolutely. And, our ability to save lives, both of the puppies that we've talked about earlier and these kittens that Madison has talked about, is directly related to our fosters that are able to foster them and see them through to save their lives. And it is with great pleasure that I can now welcome Andy Bingham, who is the Executive Director of Esther Neonatal Kitten Alliance. She and Mira are going to talk a little bit more about taking care of those neonatals after they're born and what all of that is necessary.
Fabulous. Welcome,
Thanks,
Andy. We're so excited.
Thanks for having me.
I'm going to just turn it right on over to you.
Sounds great. Let me turn on those slides. Is it the neonatal one, I assume? Let's see. Yep, here we go. Okay. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be a part of this and also to partner with Lucky Dog to help you save more neonates. So my name is Andy. I am the director here at Esther Neonatal Kitten Alliance. And what we do is we provide care and rescue to orphan newborn kittens. We have our own foster program. We partner with a lot of rescues like Lucky Dog to help them save more neonates. And we do a lot of community education. We also recently opened up a neonatal kitten nursery in Asheville, North Carolina, where we're based out of, and it essentially serves as an ICU. So we have lots of incubators, oxygen concentrator. We can do tube feeding and all kinds of stuff to give kittens the best chance possible. I do have a kitten here in my little sling, little kitten named Wyatt. He's real hungry, so we're gonna do a bottle feeding demo in a few minutes, and you guys can watch a kitten get fed. So this is a little bit about our programs. Like I said, we have our own neonate program, so we provide around-the-clock care. One problem when it comes to how a lot of rescues deal with neonates is a lot of rescues just don't have the resources, training, and time to really give everything that a neonate needs, and it often becomes kind of an emergency situation. So these neonates will come into a rescue and everybody kind of has to drop what they're doing to care for this neonate. And, sometimes the staff doesn't fully know how to do everything correctly, and they might accidentally be putting a kitten in danger, or they just simply don't have the time. Most rescues are understaffed, overworked, and people are just running around like crazy. So it's really important to...
That never happens. The
overworked
never.
Yeah, it's very rare to have that happen. Yeah, happens everywhere all the time. So, it's really important that these kittens move to foster as quickly as possible so that they're getting all of the, all of the care they need right away. So one thing we do is we partner with rescues. We provide a bottle baby kitten feeding 101 webinar that I'm going to talk about in a few minutes. And that webinar basically serves as it gives anybody who attends a real baseline of information about, all of the basic stuff they need to know to take care of neonates. And we're encouraging other rescues to send their new neonate fosters to our webinar. So we're able to take that off their plates so they don't have to do that training. We can provide that training, and hopefully that helps kind of alleviate some stress. But we're also able to be on call to answer questions. We can offer printed resources, kind of whatever the rescue partners need. And then again, we do community education in time before and after COVID. We'll be doing, classes for students and summer camps and stuff like that. And then we're doing tours of our nursery as well. And, one challenge is that neonates, they're just generally not safe in shelters. shelters, of course, everybody's doing the best they can and everybody wants to help all of the animals. But when it comes to these kittens that are so tiny and so vulnerable, they're just not really safe long-term in these shelters. And that's for two main reasons. One is that these kittens are so vulnerable. They're tiny, they have very weak immune systems. For an older kitten or an adult cat who's maybe been vaccinated at least once or twice, has a stronger immune system, then those are animals that if they have to stay at a shelter for a few days or whatever until they can move to a foster home or get adopted or whatever, or stay there, forever while they wait for their forever home. But that's a safe environment generally for an animal who's been vaccinated and old enough to have a strong immune system. But these neonates are very, very delicate. And in a shelter system, there's animals moving in and out all the time from various different environments. We don't always know what they've been exposed to. So all of these things can put neonates at risk. A lot of shelters start vaccinating kittens at 4 weeks old, but that means that for 4 weeks, these kittens aren't vaccinated at all. And also kittens often aren't fully safe until they've had that booster 2 weeks later. So it can really be 6 weeks until kittens are actually really safe to stay at a shelter, long term. But also most shelters don't have overnight care. Most shelters aren't staffed 24/7. They have, their staff who shows up in the morning to take care of the animals, and then at night they go home. So these neonates really need to be fed every 2 to 4 hours, depending on how old they are. And if there's nobody there to do that, then it really puts the kittens in danger because their blood sugar can drop pretty quickly if they're not fed in a timely manner. So it's really important that fosters exist. So I'm really happy that Lucky Dog is doing a lot to build their neonate program, and that a lot of you guys are fostering neonates or interested in fostering neonates, and we will be there to help that happen. So one thing I would like to invite you to do if you're wanting to learn more about neonates is we're doing a whole series of Bottle Baby Kitten Care 101 webinars. We're doing these all season, twice a month. They're free, open to anybody. You just have to register on our website. And basically these classes are going to go over all of the basics you need to know. In these classes, we're not talking about any sort of above and beyond stuff. We're not really talking about emergency care. So you're not going to learn really about tube feeding or even syringe feed or anything like that. We're going to talk about the bare bones stuff. And it sounds like you have a good team at Lucky Dog who can help you if anything advanced comes along. But we'll talk about, where orphan kittens come from. Why is it that thousands of newborn orphan kittens end up in shelters? Where are they coming from? We'll talk about why it's so important to spay and neuter community cats, especially those outdoor cats that you see roaming around. We'll talk about how to tell if a kitten is really an orphan or not, because just because kittens are alone doesn't necessarily mean that mom's not around, because of course mom has to leave them every now and then to go find food for herself. And if she has a litter of 5 kittens, she can't exactly take them all with her to go find food, right? So there's certain things you can look for to know whether or not a kitten has truly been abandoned. And I would also want to stress that it's really best case scenario in almost any situation that the kitten stays with their mom until they're weaned, if at all possible. So if the situation is relatively safe and it looks like the kittens are being well cared for, then best case scenario is you either trap mom and put her into foster with the kittens so she can continue nursing them, or you need to leave them there and try to grab them, once they're closer to 5 or 6 weeks old when they're starting to wean. We'll talk about how, with the basic care that neonates need and all the best practices. So we'll talk about, the proper position to hold a kitten in when you're bottle feeding, how to warm up formula, kind of all that stuff. We'll talk about, pottying the kitten and weighing the kitten and all that stuff. we'll talk about why it's important to quarantine and sanitize, and how long kittens might be carrying diseases without showing any symptoms at all, and how important it is to keep your home and other animals in your home safe, and future animals in your home. We'll talk about basic medical challenges. With neonates, there are a handful of things that you will deal with really often. So we'll talk about diarrhea, constipation. Those are almost every kitten will have diarrhea at some point, whether they have really delicate stomachs. So it's really, whether it's because they're transitioning from mama's milk to formula, or from formula to wet food, or they just have a little bit of a bacterial imbalance, or they have parasites, or they're a little anxious. Like literally almost anything can cause a kitten to have diarrhea. And it's good to be able to kind of identify what is going on when your kitten has diarrhea and make sure that you're acting quickly. We'll talk about fading kitten syndrome, because that is something that if you're fostering a lot of kittens, you will probably deal with at some point as well. And that's something you'll want to be able to act quickly when it happens. And then we'll also talk about ideas for self-care, because taking care of neonates is very stressful and it can be exhausting. So you're waking up every few hours all night. You're taking care of these very, very fragile babies. So we'll talk about ways to take care of yourself, because it's really important to do that while you're taking care of the other kittens. So again, if you want to register for one of these free webinars, you can register on our website, and that's just kittenalliance.org. They're free. Feel free to share that link with anybody you know who might want to learn more about kittens. And we think that that's really important information for anybody to know, whether you intend to foster neonates or not, just because you never know when you might come across one. People find these kittens all the time. They find them when they're walking their dogs, and they find them in their gardens and their basements. And, even if you don't intend to foster them long term, having that baseline of information to know how to keep a kitten safe for a few hours until you can get it to a rescue can really make the difference between life and death for that kitten. So now I'm gonna feed Wyatt. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this screen here. If I can, there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna move this prop here so you can see him. I'm gonna warm up his bottle. So someone mentioned earlier that bottles can be warmed up in just a cup of hot water, and that's true. I like to use a infant bottle warmer, which I originally got from Target. It's, if you're fostering a lot of neonates, you're doing it at a high volume, the infant bottle warmer warms up the milk very quickly, and it just kind of can make the whole process easier if you're doing this a lot. So I'm just gonna get a second to warm up, but since you guys all just learned about how to identify the ages of kittens, does anybody have any guesses on,
Oops. Sorry.
Does anybody have guesses on how old this guy is?
I'm guessing 2 to 3 weeks.
So he is 6 days.
Wow, I was way off.
So his eyes aren't open yet. He just lost his umbilical cord yesterday. Looks like he did pee on himself, so excuse his messy bottom. So we're gonna, like someone said earlier, we're gonna test the milk on the wrist to make sure that it's warm enough, but not too warm. And then what you'll wanna do is, let's see if I can get this. You wanna make sure that he's in the position that he would drink from mom. So we're gonna do belly down. And we're gonna, sometimes it really helps to brace their heads a little bit to make sure they don't flail.
If you have any questions about what Andy is doing, please feel free to put them in the chat. I'm happy to read them for her if needed. But that is a very hungry kitten.
So Wyatt is our 100th kitten of the season already.
Wow.
Yeah, so we never really had a break in usually we get about a month or two in between kitten seasons, and this year it was just constant. So we've already taken in about 6 times more kittens this year than we had at this point last year. So it's gearing up to be a pretty crazy season.
Yes. We've already had a couple of mama cats give birth and had some orphan kittens come in already. Gearing up. Allie has a question. How much do they eat at one time?
So that's going to depend on how old they are. Generally between 0 to a week old, they're going to eat probably about 2 to 6 mLs per meal. And it'll increase after that. In the webinar, we do have a slide that shows it, kind of exactly how much you can expect them to eat. Oh, goodness. Lovely. So we're going to help him potty. Like someone said earlier, kittens don't potty on their own until they're a bit older. And kittens should pee every time they eat. Oh, goodness. You're going to walk right off there. I know. Oh, goodness. They can be kind of drama queens while they're peeing too.
Andy, there's another question asking if you burp kittens like you would do a human baby.
If you have reason to believe that there's air in however you're feeding them, so if they maybe sucked in air in the bottle, then yes, and you can do that just by holding them gently in your hand like this and just tapping them on the back like that. I generally don't do it if I am feeding from a syringe because if you're filling up the syringe correctly, you're not going to have air in it. So to help them potty, and then I like to see if he wants any more. Sometimes he'll drink a little bit more after he pees.
He made room in his body.
It doesn't look like he's going to latch, but he does like to kind of lick at it a little bit.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to take a wet wipe and clean up any milk that's on his face. We don't want to leave any milk on his face. And after this, I'm going to give him a little bit of a butt bath because he peed on himself while he was waiting. So you want to make sure that the kittens stay very clean. So you don't want to keep any food or milk on their faces or bodies. And you want to, if they poop on themselves or pee on themselves, keep them clean because, of course, all of that stuff can breed bacteria. So you don't want to do anything that could potentially make them sick.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Andy. This has been amazing. And we are so excited to be partnering with you this year and look forward to helping try to get some of your grown neonates adopted in the DC area and have some help with our own neonates as we need it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Welcome back, Madison. So Madison, maybe you can just quickly talk about our puppy and kitten wish list and things that we are looking for our wonderful supporters to send us to set our fosters up for success.
Yes. So raising puppies and kittens definitely takes a village, and it also takes a lot of supplies, some of which are listed on our puppy and kitten wish list. They need heating pads. They need milk replacement. If they're not latching really well, kind of like you saw in Andy's video, they need puppy pads because they make big messes. All of those things are really important, and we want to be able to provide our fosters with as much support as we can. So donations like the ones that you can make through the Amazon wish list are critical.
Thank you. So we have a quick little video coming up next featuring actually two of our puppy kittens and adoption coordinators, fosters and adoption coordinators.
I love being an adoption coordinator because it's so rewarding when you can match a cat or kitten with an amazing forever home and work with their fosters to make sure that they're receiving all of the guidance and support needed. Being an adoption coordinator is a great way to make a difference and get involved. And if you're interested in saving lives and helping cats get adopted so we can rescue even more, being an adoption coordinator might be the right volunteer opportunity for you.
Hi everyone, please meet my darling foster mama cat, Fanny, and her two little kittens, Freckles and Fizzy. I just love fostering for Lucky Dog. If you see that joy of these kittens coming into this world and being raised by their mom, afterwards, once you've found like a forever home for these little ones, you get like updates from the adopters, how they're growing and how they're doing. Sometimes even adopters stay in touch like a year after they've adopted a cat, and that's just like amazing that you just know that you found the best possible home for them. Fostering is really like making sure that that you observe the cat, that they're healthy, flagging anything with Lucky Dog if something is off, making sure that they're fed really well, that they use the litter box.
As Lynn kind of talks about in there, it's really amazing to be able to foster and see these animals kind of develop and gain confidence in the home. And one of my favorite things about Lucky Dog is the family that we created here. You know, being able for our fosters to have around the clock access to our staff for support, as needed hands-on help from other volunteers and fosters to help with feedings if needed, supplies that we have talked about multiple times throughout this presentation, you know, and also that Madison and Amira have talked about. You know, and I think that we push a lot here for looking for fosters because we are always needing fosters to add to this little family here. Our biggest need is for fosters ready to take on a neonatal kitten or puppy or a pregnant or nursing mom as they arrive, so that we can get those calls at the final hour and be able to say, yes, absolutely, send them, let's save their lives. We have a foster ready to go, and we can give them the supplies and the support that they need. If you would like to sign up to foster, you can sign up on our website at luckydoganimalrescue.org/volunteer/foster, and that should be in the chat for you if it's a little easier to click there. Don't worry, I know we've talked a lot about puppies and kittens here, and if it feels a little overwhelming for your first foster to be a puppy or a kitten or a pregnant or nursing mom, we totally understand. We have a ton of adult dogs and cats that are always in need of being rescued, and you know, we do just as much adults as we do puppies and kittens. So if you want to start there, everything is still the same. You can go to that link, sign up, and I or someone on our foster team can help answer any questions that you have. Just in case you're considering fostering some kittens, though, we're going to turn it over to a short video from one of our awesome kitten fosters, Tawny Holmes, from the DMV area, to kind of give a little overview of her experience as a foster.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to thank you all for tuning into our virtual puppy and kitten shower. Of course, we had a few technical difficulties along the way, but hopefully you found it great and exciting and helpful, and that you're going to want to foster. If not our puppies and kittens, then definitely our adults, who are obviously as much need as everyone else. And I just want to remind you that if you can't foster, but you want to donate, both of our wish lists, our puppy wish list and our kitten wish list, have really critical supplies on there that we need. And you can also donate by texting LUCKY to 26989, or you can visit our website, luckydoganimalrescue.org/donate. You can also visit our website to learn how to sign up for volunteering or for fostering. And we are just so grateful to have all of you here. And thanks for tuning in, and we apologize for running late. Thank you.
Thank you guys.